Hi everyone. Today we are exploring what a button class can do in JavaFX. So there will be three things that we're going to look at. One is how to validate input, and based on some input such as text field, we're going to either enable or disable the button, and this will be done through binding, so automatically. Then we're going to have a look at how you can fire buttons without clicking on the clicking on the button UI control. That's quite useful when you're doing unit testing, because these are types of automated testing, so you don't have the user there pressing these buttons. So you need a way to make sure you're able to fire a button and then test what it does. And then the last thing is going to be animation. So we're going to animate our button because any UI control in JavaFX is a node. It's rendered as a node in the scene graph, which means we're able to apply various animations. So let's do that. I'm just adding the normal boilerplate stuff as we normally have in those videos. They're based on JavaFX. So I think I want a vertical box. Yeah. Let's add a button. The humble JavaFX button. Click will do, and then just root get children, add the button. Not too worried about the layout. I just want to be able to run it. So we've got a button over here, and let's make it do something on press. It's quite easy to do. So you add set on action, and whatever code that you have inside that lambda is the code that will be called when the button is pressed. So let's do something like that. So we're going to print to the terminal saying the user clicked it. And that will work, so I'm not going to test that. Let's do the number one, which is validity of input. For that, we're going to have some input, text field. And there are a few ways you can do this. We're going to do it the binding way. So what we can do is take button. It has a disable property, which is a Boolean property as opposed to this one, which is read only, which means we are able to write to it. So we can bind that to a binding. Now we need to figure out what type of binding we're going to have. So what we want is some kind of a method that validates our input. And validation typically means it returns a Boolean, a true or a false, and it takes a string, which is our input. Now we don't particularly care what this validation is at the moment. Just want a high-level architecture. Because disable property is a Boolean property, we need to create a Boolean binding. A binding, or rather a complex binding, the one that we're currently creating, has two important things. One is the actual Boolean returning function, which we already have. So what we could do is just do this, is valid, and we need to pass in text field get text. So we've done the sort of trivial bit. This is the thing that we need to do to check if the text field is valid. Now, if you leave it at that, nothing is going to happen because we also need to listen for changes. If the text field's text property doesn't notify us that it changed, then there is no point in running this Boolean binding. It's never going to run on anything new. So the second part of this function call is we're saying what the property is that we need to kind of look out for changes in, because this is the property that will be changed over time as the user enters something into the text field. As that property changes, it's going to notify or rather update this binding to be whatever this result is based on this input. And then after that, it's going to update automatically our button's disable property, and it's all going to just magically work. Now, what I'll probably need is to invert it, because this is disable property, not enable property, right? So I think we need to invert it. Let's try that. Also, don't forget to add the text field to the root node, otherwise you're not going to see it. So anything I type in here is going to be valid because our method says so. Also, it might be a good idea to increase the font on that thing so you can see it clearly. And how about a string is valid if it's at least 5 characters? How about that? So the button that we currently have should be disabled. Nice. And that's a common thing you see in the UI on the web. Certain buttons are not enabled by default, and you actually have to provide some input in order for them to become enabled. Hello. So if we do hello, it's 5 characters, and this thing is now enabled, so I can actually press it. If I get rid of 1 character, it's 4 characters, and I cannot press the button anymore. So that's the first thing we wanted to cover, so that's good. Number 2, I forgot what number 2 was. I know 3 is animation. Number 2 is unit testing, there we go. It's the ability to fire a button without actually pressing it through a mouse event. We could potentially use the same text field, so let's add another listener to the text property. So we don't care about that. That's the old value, and that's the new value that we need. So new string. If new string let's do world. If world equals new string, then we do something. So that means if we're typing the word world and then, well, then something is going to happen. And that something is, well, we don't have a reference to the button yet, so let's take this out of here. And now we can do button fire. This is an important method to be aware of because it's something that you can call on a button that will trigger its on action callback. So if I do hello, nothing happens. Well, the button gets enabled. That's part of the thing that we did earlier. Let's do world. So you can see that when I typed world, the button just activated itself, it triggered itself because of this. So that's something you can basically do if needed. Right, so the final thing is animation. Now let's do, if it's hello that we're looking for, then animate. And we're going to be animating our button. Let's do that. Let IntelliJ create a method for us. That will do. And the good news is here, you don't have to use button as the subclass. You can actually use node as a superclass, and you can animate lots of different things. Already covered animation to a large extent on this channel. So I'll just very quickly do a scale transition for a button. It takes duration and the node. Duration is, let's do it less than 1 second. And then the node is our button. st play. st go from 1 to 0. Let's do backwards animation. st set 2, x is 0, st set 2, y is 0, and then st auto reverse true, and then play it twice, set count 2. So it will shrink completely, as in disappear, and then it will grow back to its original form when we type hello. There you go. That's your basic animation. The button is tiny, so I'm just going to increase size, the font of it. Set font. Let's do the same 30. Right, so unless something appears here, like a 5-letter word or longer, this thing won't be clickable. That's the first thing that we did. Second thing we did was typing hello, which allows us, well, that's the third thing, allows us to play the animation, and you can play a variety of animations: fade transitions, translate transitions, scale, rotate, anything you can think of in terms of transforms. You can play that animation on any JavaFX node, and because all UI controls are JavaFX nodes, you're able to do anything with anything, which is great. Like, you could take this text field and animate it if you wanted to. And if we do a world, then we're able to click the button without actually pressing the button. Cool. So this is it for this tutorial, or rather a JavaFX Explore series. And we'll see if there is anything else we can explore in terms of commonly used API, and perhaps API that is not as commonly used. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.